Hey everybody, this is TJR. The soundtrack for the Elton John Bio Pic Rocketman just got released today, and I've been listening to it this morning, and I thought I would weigh in on it. Now, back when the first two trailers hit for this motion picture, I speculated that this movie might not be a typical music biopic, and that it might be a full-on musical. And this was due to some of the clips that I'd seen in the trailer, which showed huge choreographed dance numbers, which implied to me this might be a musical, which I think is a unique way to do a music biopic, and an exciting and interesting way to do a music biopic if that's what's going to happen. But it's also one of those real kind of, like palm slapping, oh my gosh, why didn't anybody think of this sooner kind of moments. On the soundtrack's opening two tracks, which are The Bitch Is Back and I Want Love, we hear different characters in the film singing various lyrical passages to these songs, which indicates that the songs are being used to move the story of the film forward versus just being used to show the artist performing and creating the hit songs that we all know, although I'm sure we will see some of that in this movie too. Originally, I had stated that the film being a musical would explain why actor Taron Egerton is recording all of his vocals instead of just using the album studio tracks. And more on that in a moment. On the third track, we hear a group of young kids and what sounds like a young Elton John singing Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting. Once again, this implies that this is a musical. But then we don't get any more of this vocal swapping until much, much later in the soundtrack. So who knows? I guess we'll know for sure once the movie comes out to theaters next week. The next thing that I would point out about this soundtrack is that every single song used in the film is a re-recording. There are no original album studio tracks on the album. These are all remixes, some of them more faithful to the original versions and some of them not so. And how you feel about this is going to depend on how married you feel you are to the original studio recordings. Personally, I would recommend reserving judgment until you have heard these new versions within the context of the film. With that said, several unique and even exciting interpretations have already caught my ear. In particular, the film's rendition of its title track, Rocketman, brings out much more of a sense of isolation. Only this time I sense, and this is from listening to Taron Egerton's performance, that the isolation is not from being up in space, but instead from being mega famous. Once again, we'll see how all this plays out next week. I should add that sorry seems to be the hardest word, and Goodbye Yellow Brick Road also gets some very interesting reinterpretations. And once again, how you feel about this will depend on how married you are to the original material. A number of famous hits like Pinball Wizard, Benny and the Jets, and one of my least favorite Elton hits, Don't Go Breaking My Heart, are all abbreviated and all have the subheading interlude added to them, which indicates to me that they are going to possibly be used as transitions for different periods in Elton's life. Who knows? Another thing that I should point out is the number of non-hits and very minor hits from Elton's catalog that are used in this motion picture soundtrack. This includes Thank You for All Your Lovin', Rock and Roll Madonna, Amarina, Hercules, Border Song, and Take Me to the Pilot. Too often, music biopics tend to just reinforce the hit singles that everybody knows. So I'm really glad to see that this film is going to dig deeper into Elton's catalog, and that new audiences will be exposed to these songs, and hopefully it will take them down a path of discovery where they will want to check out the original albums that these songs were originally released on. From my perspective, this album has two closing tracks. First, there is the song I'm Still Standing, which I have a feeling will be used to illustrate Sir Elton John picking himself up after his struggles with drug addiction, heartbreak. He's been through all that, just like so many rock stars of his era. But then there is a second track which closes the album. It's a new track. It's a duet with Elton John and Taron Egerton entitled I'm Gonna Love Again. I'm assuming this will probably play during the closing credits. Who knows? I'm Gonna Love Again is a new Elton John and Bernie Taupin penned original. The song has a very strong early 60s Motown vibe to it. Overall, I enjoyed listening to the soundtrack, and I will say that after one listen, I am more inclined to give repeated listens to the soundtrack than the recent set of tribute albums, Revamp and Restoration, that came out several months ago. Those are my thoughts. What are yours? Have you listened to this yet? Let me know what you think. Are you planning on going to see the film? Are you excited to see the film? I'm definitely going to be going to see it. I'll definitely do a review. I may not be able to get to it as quickly as I'd like to, but definitely will be coming out with a review on that. As always, everybody, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate everybody who clicks like, clicks subscribe. And also, I will mention, be sure to click notifications so you can know when I release new videos. And if you'd like to help me make more videos, please consider becoming a Patreon supporter. Patreon supporters receive access to exclusive behind-the-scenes content, and they're also the only ones who get to suggest video topics. Thanks, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye. This includes thank you for all your lovin', rock and roll Madonna, Amarina, Hercules. Do it again.